Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta, and this video is about Suhr Reactive Load / IR. Yeah, so what is a reactive load IR? Well, it's a device where you can connect your tube amplifier, crank it up, and record it and play it at your home or any environment that you need to do it silently without the pounding of a 4x12 or 2x12 or whatever cabinet. So basically you can play and crank your tube amp without having a cabinet involved, which is awesome, I think. And the reactive load states that because tube amplifier and cabinet, they kind of work in conjunction. So there's a lot of power coming from a tube amp to a cabinet, and then the reactance or whatever makes the sound, makes the amp behave a certain way depending on what cabinet it feeds the signal, and then there's some signal coming back to the amp and stuff. A bit technical, but that's how it basically works. So amps behave differently and obviously sound differently depending on what cabinet is being used. And this device, it kind of cheats the amp to think that it's connected to a cabinet. So the amp reacts like it would be with a cabinet, so to say. So I don't know the technology or whatever, but there's a lot of stuff, a lot of coppers and stuff, and this makes a bit of a noise when you, the more you crank, there's something's happening, and the interaction is like it's amazing. It feels like, well, at least I think the amp feels like that it's being played to a cabinet. At least it feels like when I'm playing, because I can crank it and you have that boom, all those power compressions, that low end rumble and stuff. So that's what it basically does. It's very simple to use. There's no applications or whatever where you could change this and that. This is like, you know, your meat and potatoes. You hook this up, you dial, select your IR, and you start to play. I like that. Someone else has thought, you know, I don't have to do any tweakings or mic placements or whatever. I mean, that's cool every once in a while, but in general, I'm a bit of a tweaker, but first and foremost, I'm a player. I like to plug things and start to play, and it needs to sound good, basically right out of the bat, which this thing does. So what we have here, there's a IR selector, there's 4 banks, and each bank has 4 IR slots. And this comes with 16 Suhr IRs, which Suhr has created with selection. And you can change those to your own IRs, to a third-party IRs or whatever, like I've done. I'm not gonna go through what impulse responses or cabinets there are. There's Suhr cabinets. I'll put the link on the description on the menu, so you can check it yourself, because I'm not sure if I remember correct, so I don't talk any shit. So please check the manual from the description. But it's really handy. So you basically select your IRs here, and then when you push this couple of seconds, it freezes it. So let's say you're on a gig or whatever, and you don't want anyone to, or something happens, so you can freeze this kind of so you can't scroll any IRs. Then there's headphones level. You can hook your headphones here, and then aux in. You can maybe connect your phone, and you can jam, you know, with your favorite music and, you know, with your favorite tube amp. Really cool. And then there's the DI level. This is the level that this device sends to a, in my case, to the audio interface. And when it's too loud, it's this clip here. It goes red, and then you just back it up a little bit. And then it's should be fine. Or then you dial it if you know, recording into your DAW. Like I use Logic, I usually check out that the levels are like, you know, close to zero, a little bit under, so that it doesn't go red, and I just dial it here. That it's like, okay, now it's perfect. Then there's a signal plus dB and 0 plus 6 dB. I think if you have something really low output device, maybe just a little tiny amp or preamp or pedal or whatever, you need to, you know, boost the signal a bit. And then there's high cut. It basically cuts off the really high stuff. I usually have it off, because if I need to cut anything, I do it in a post-production in DAW with an EQ afterwards, because I want to the full everything go to the when I record. Then the back panel, let's go to the screen there. As you can see, there's your input to the amp, where you connect your amp. This is 8 ohms and 100 watt max. Now you might want to ask that, okay, PV5150, 6501 is 120 watt. Can you use PV with this? Yes, you can, because the 120 watt is PV's maximum output. And how many times you have played 5150 or any tube, 100 watt tube amp or 120 watt amp with master cranked? Never. Well, it's really loud and it sounds like shit, usually, because then you have all kinds of power amp, power tube distortion, whatever. So usually the sweet spot is like, I mean, with the Fryette, what I'll be using now when I'm demoing the different IRs in a bit, it's like 10 o'clock. With the Marshalls, I have it like 9. That's the sweet spot. So yeah, you can play a 120 watt tube amp into this. But if you crank it, then it's might not work. Okay, and then there's a through, so you can connect this to a speaker, but this isn't like a attenuator. So if you connect this to a speaker, then the volume will come out from the speaker, like on the real volume, like really loud. So there's no, as you can see, there's no switch where you can make it louder, make it quieter. That comes from the cabinet. So, but yeah, maybe this situation could be handy if you're, you know, live. You have your trusty IR, which you like, which you use, which you have dialed your sound with, and then you just want to use a cabinet, maybe a rental cabinet somewhere, and then you can just hook this so you can feel the, you know, 4x12 rumbling on the stage, but the signal to the audience and to the PA isn't coming from the cabinet, but with this device, where's your selected IR. And then a USB port. So there's it's like a simple folder. Let me show you, sir. So it's like this is the interface or whatever. So there's 4 banks, 4 cabinets, and you can then if you have like I have IRs on my computer, there's own hammers and stuff, so I can move these IRs from my computer to the device and vice versa, which is really handy. So this takes a third-party IRs as well. They just need to be certain. I don't remember if it was a 48. I'll put the, well, it's in the menu what the IR should be, because there's different lengths and different whatever, you know, those are made of. So yeah, that's like that. And then let's go back to the, and then there's, you know, 9-volt power. And this DI line out is pretty cool. So there's unfiltered and IR. So if you wanna record like the sound that you would normally do, like the same that miking with a camp, you use this IR like I have, and it goes to, this is that mic, but it goes to back here. So kind of like, would be like I'd be recording a sound with a cabinet. And the unfiltered is that you can record that too simultaneously. So that records just the amp's sound without an IR, so like without a cabinet. So it obviously sounds like shit, but then you can change the IR afterwards. Like let's say you're mixing, you can have different options, because it changes the sound quite drastically depending what IR you're using. I'm gonna show that soon. Okay, so yeah. And then on the menu there's a really simple how to connect these things. So if you're, you know, purchase this, I'm sure you'll be able to read those menus by yourself. So I'm not gonna show that, because there's just a couple of cables, and I think I just explained it. Okay. Yeah, let's close the screen. And what we have here now is a, this is I have a, because there's no like, not anything, you know, modern flashy stuff. So I put it myself, printed a list which IRs I have for this video, so I can tell you what I'm using. Otherwise I'll just scroll them and, you know, okay, this sounds good. But usually I have a couple, basically 2 or 3 IRs that I mainly use. So the amp is, now we're on a clean channel of the Fryette Sig. My Telecaster, Tokai Telecaster. And I have a Boss chorus and a Boss digital delay there. Like that, and without and the IR is a bank 1 cap 3, so it's a Suhr PT 2x12 with G1275H creamback speakers, mic with SM57 and Royer 121. This is the IR that I mostly use with clean or like slightly distorted stuff. I think it sounds really... let me demonstrate. I took the effects off, so it's probably better. What this sounds like. Let's say Bank 2 Cap 4, Marshall Mode 4, 4x12 with vintage 30s and EVH speakers, mic with SM57 and 121. That's the IR that I mostly use with distorted stuff, like what I've used on most of my videos. So least to my ears, the 2x12 sounds more a bit open and airy, and there's nice sparkling top end, and the 4x12 is really, so it suits really well with the distorted stuff. Let's pick up like diesel 4x12. That's a diesel 4x12 with vintage 30s and SM57 and Rare 121. Then I'm gonna switch back to the Marshall Mode 4 4x12 and to the Python 2x12, so you can hear. So I think the 2x12 sounds better with this sound, the clean channel and the Telecaster. Okay, then let's switch guitar. My trusty old Tokai, which my signature ESP models are based off, designed by Zach Wild. He has played with this guitar, so there's Wild's mojo on it. Yeah, and let's switch to the rhythm channel of a Fryette. And let's take the 2x12. Marshall Mode 4 4x12. And let's take again the diesel 4x12 with vintage 30s. I'm gonna do the comparison again. So, as you can hear, it makes a big difference what IR you're using, and it can be a rabbit hole when you try to find this, because there's so much available. I've done my research, and at one point I was like, okay, I'm gonna settle with these. So I have these 16 here, what I use. There's 4 different Suhr IRs, then there's 4 IRs from the Marshall's Mode 4 cabinet, and one with the V30s and EVH. That's probably my favorite, what I mostly use. And then I have a Mesa Boogies and a diesel, and a mix of those. Those are from the Own Hammers Heavy Hitters 1 collection. Okay, that was a bit of a rock. Let's switch guitar again. This is my white Telecaster, Kia, my wife. She's blonde, like this. Okay, and then let's switch to the lead channel of a Fryette, and yeah, let's use the start from the same, let's use these same cabinets because they're quite different. So Suhr 2x12. Okay, then let's use the Marshall Mode 4 with Vintage 30s and EVH. Sorry, the noodling. And then the Diesel 4x12. So as you heard, they're quite different. I think that the Diesel with V30s suits this guitar low A tuning and the modern gain channel of the Fryette. So these let's go through them again. I just scroll it so you can hear. A nice tight end, that Diesel. But yeah, this is basically what it is, and the DI level. So now it's clipping. So you just set this accordingly, and you'll be fine. Strong recommendation for the Suhr, and what I like is that it's really simple. You can't get into a rabbit hole with this one because there's no interface with graphics, and you know, sometimes it's cool to be able to tweak everything like mic placements and whatnot, and all kinds of gadgets, but I've usually found that I found those maybe first really cool, but then at the end of the day I just want to have something that works quickly and is like a no-nonsense meat and potatoes. It's, by the way, really good food too, like you know, 1-channel tube amp or a 3-channel tube amp with simple controls. You know what you're doing. You know, with this you just use the Suhr IRs, or if you have something that you really like. I mean, the Suhr IRs, they kind of like more towards vintage and rock. So for the modern metal, let's say the Suhr, I'm gonna show you the 4x12 with the greenbacks. Compared to a diesel, and here's actually 4x12 with vintage 30s Suhr cabinet. And then the diesel. So you hear the diesel is more like modern. So the Suhr IRs are really great, and I use them for not that heavy stuff, a little bit rock and clean, semi-clean, you know, more vintage style. And then well, I had the Own Hammers heavy heaters, which they're like, you know, well, you heard, it's so I use those IRs from that collection for the heavier stuff. Okay, hey, hopefully you found this informative and interesting, and if you did, please thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, take care, bye.